What happens when you mix a classic beat-em-up, like Streets of Rage, with the lightning-fast dodge mechanics of a modern masterpiece like Hades? Well, you get Starfire Eternal Cycle, a brand new roguelike that hides a surprisingly deep challenge behind some of the easiest controls I've seen in a while. But is that simple gameplay enough to carry it through some truly brutal boss fights? Let's break it down. When I first started playing, the first thing that jumped out at me was the art style. The cell shading is very nice and clean, with backdrops that range from classic tropes like fire and ice to deserts and industrial settings. The game feels easy at first, and then you quickly realize it essentially starts you in easy mode. The real game is the journey to unlock the harder stages and runs, and to do that, you're going to need upgrades. Now let's talk about the gameplay mechanics. The game feels like a classic beat-em-up because, well, it is. It uses the same movement that those classic games did, where you're on a 2D plane but can move up and down to give extra depth to the battlefield. The only strange issue I had is that the character is always in a running animation, so when moving up on the plane, it can look like she's moving extremely slow. But where this game really modernizes the formula is in its combat. Instead of mashing buttons for hours, which can get really annoying in a roguelike, the combat here is mostly built around a hold-to-combo system. You hold down the attack button to complete an attack sequence, which feels fluid and helps reduce the push square till it dies model. This system still has depth, as different weapons use the hold function differently. The bow, for example, has a hold to charge attack instead. Of course, this is a roguelike, so let's look at the progression systems. During a run, you'll level up, giving you more options. But the real star of the show is the insect core system. Each core has an elemental affinity, like earth, fire, wind, and ice. Stacking cores of the same type can give you major boosts or even trigger extra attacks. A great example is the Shadow type, which creates duplicates of your character that can deal a ton of extra damage. When you inevitably die, you lose your insect cores for that run. But what you earn can be spent on permanent metagame upgrades like more health, new weapons, or the ability to reroll choices. So with each run, your character gets stronger, and your own skill gets better as you start learning the boss's patterns. This allows you to unlock the more advanced stages where curses come into play, throwing in even more modifiers to the world and enemies, which is great for long-term replayability. My favorite thing about the game is that simple, fluid ease of the combat, but that can also be its most annoying aspect. This is the game's double-edged sword. You can wipe out the normal enemies with no problem, which can give you a false sense of security. If you don't build your character out correctly with the right insect cores and upgrades during a run, you are absolutely doomed when you get to the bosses, especially on the higher difficulties. I also wish the game was a bit more generous with the materials needed to purchase those meta upgrades, as the grind can feel a bit slow. But then again, this is a roguelike. It's not meant to be easy. Visually, the game is a treat, especially the ultimate moves. These are little cinematic power moves based on your build that deal massive damage, and they are always fun to watch. The audio, however, is a bit of a mixed bag. While the music is pretty good, it often gets completely drowned out by the sound effects, which can be very loud, especially when you have thousands of meteors falling on the screen. The audio mix feels unbalanced, so my recommendation is to go into the settings and turn the music up about 30% higher than the sound effects for a much better experience. Ultimately, this is a game for fans of beat-em-ups and roguelikes, especially if you enjoyed games similar to Hades. But I want to make one thing clear. This is not a game that is going to blow you away on the same level as Hades. Think of it more as a lighter version of that experience, borrowing the great combat feel but combining it with a classic beat-em-up structure. It's not going to be an easy journey to get everything, and it will take a lot of time and patience. So if that doesn't sound like your kind of thing, this might not be a good choice for you. But as always, this review is to help you decide if you want to play or pass. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you kindly leave a like and subscribe? And I will talk to y'all later.